What the heck?
Or can we do 50-50?
Let's try it out.
50-50 be cool. Maybe get a wide screen going. I mean, I'm vertical.
He's playing. He's got the computer up and he's recording because he's in the meeting as well. Yeah, that's just the two of us right there. It would be better if you went wide, but it's really not that big of a deal.
I don't give a shit.
Do you have Blink-182 written on your chest?
I don't know, dog. You tell me. You know, I got no problem with Bowling for Soup, but it's come to my attention that a lot of people know them for their cover of Stacy's Mom, and I just want to do a quick R.I.P.
Dude, that's Fountains of Wayne.
Fountains of Wayne, who passed away. Dude, guy from Fountains of Wayne died from Corona, dude. You hear about that?
Are you being serious?
I am being serious, man.
How do you, I feel like you are able to get information really, like, efficiently that other people aren't able to get. I've been seeing you doing your rants.
Who are your
on
sources,
Instagram.
man?
You mean my lectures? Who are my sources?
Yeah, who are these sources?
Super about the Bill Gates vaccine thing. Lot of sources. You got to check, like, a lot of stuff with that. Set this thing down so I can not be pacing around here like some insane man on my court. You know what? I think I figured it out. All right.
I mean, just be yourself, man. Don't be weird.
Okay. Here's the sitch.
We hear you.
There's a lot of places you need to fact check information.
You're cutting out pretty bad, bro.
You're getting poor reception.
And to strain to get glitching. All right, let's try this. I'm glitching out. Is that the problem? Look, I've done my piece. I've done it many times on the Bill Gates conspiracy thing, and the thread certainly isn't done. Everything that has to be said is not even close to being said. That being said, I don't have a scoop on anything, you know, because the people that listen to Wieuca probably are like Mumford and Sons, like weed guys or something. The people that listen to Wieuca aren't on the same situation that I'm on sometimes.
So now I'm gonna ask you some questions about yourself so that we can share it with these great people.
All right, man, let's get it going. Also,
All right.
thinking about, well, we'll get into it later on, but I've got some information for y'all too. I have a sheet of paper here, or I left it in my room, but it was about if maybe we want to get a running bit going throughout this dialogue here. And I'm fine with peeling the curtains back and showing these fine people. Gather around, boys and girls. Let me show you how the bits are made in the Bit Factory. We got nautical themes. We can make references to water.
I can. Will, before we get started, do you mind hoisting the mainsail for us?
Hoisting up the mainsail. Yeah, I can get that going. I'll tell you the other ones. I'll tell you the other ones anyway. I wrote this all last night. I popped a couple melatonin. I was trying to drift off, so I don't really remember writing this stuff. Yeah, man, that was like our whole second album. Let's see, the other one was Pimp Echelons, different tiers of pimp activities. Back in the day, in quotes, referring to very recent history. How long did we know each other? I mean, we were bumping into each other and partying a little bit, but we weren't chilling that hard until, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I would say that's a good spot.
But we can skip all those prompts. Instead, let me just hit you with one question, and then we can dive into y'all. When are we gonna drop that collab, dude? We did the Summer Slime pop punk track that we did
I really loved that concept, and then you guys moved to Atlanta, and that's what I'm blaming it on.
Well, let me say this. One thing that's a problem with that track is I did like vocals over it, and there's a line in it. I listened to it right before I jumped on here. It's about 40 seconds long, like all good punk songs. And
Yeah.
And there's a line in it where I say, "I want Corona." And last summer when we laid it down. So I don't know.
At the time, you were just jonesing for some, cervezas, but little did we know it would turn into a global catastrophe.
Yeah, that's for sure. Still jonesing for a cerveza, but you know how it is, man.
I really I want to take this opportunity to ask some questions to you.
Ask me questions.
I guess you said it really well last night that we were talking, when you were like, we're just taking it into our own hands, trying to ask cool questions that other people might not ask, let people get to know you from somebody who you've really like messed with, played some shows with and stuff.
No, y'all know where I'm coming from more than just about anyone, I feel. So
And we're gonna bring that raw energy out of you, and that's what we want.
All right, careful what you wish for, my man.
I hope we end the interview with you revealing that you have a knife taped to your chest, similar to when we first booked your solo setup on the rooftop. That's one that's gonna stick in my mind for sure.
Hey, y'all don't know what's under this coat.
This is kind of a weird thing to ask because I think about myself and it's a little hazy, but I know you're really into music and you're also really into visual art, and that's like works together well as a crossover. You do that a lot, but I guess what I want to know is, which do you think like showed up first in your life? When you were a kid, were you like running around singing stuff, or were you just like came out of the womb doodling?
I was definitely drawing first because I didn't like have instruments as a youngster, but I formed my first band with my brother at the age of 6, I believe. I was drumming and singing. And that band was called Twister, named after Twister from Rocket Power.
Nice.
Oh, awesome. That was my favorite character.
So you're starting off gnarly. I like it.
He was cool. Yeah, that was my first skateboard. Was just a picture of Twister on it. And that's what I got it from. You guys are both kind of Twister style. That's maybe why we get along so well. But yeah, like long before I had instruments, I remember like having like songs stuck in my head that didn't exist, and I felt the need to get them out. I have some early memories of like just like singing the same like hook that I made up, I guess, over and over again, because I didn't have a way to record it. I didn't have anything to accompany it with, so I would just keep doing it to try to like remember it. And I guess I burned that stuff into my brain because I remember a lot of those.
So do you remember some like images that really stuck out to you that you kind of like still feel to this day?
Yeah, so I made a lot of comic books when I was really young.
Cool.
And those were pretty much derived from like my dad and my uncle had really extensive collections of comic books from the 70s,
Right.
early 70s. And we just had like, I don't know, 100 of those at my house.
So what's your favorite, looking back, is there a comic book character that stands out to you?
Yeah, man, I liked Planet Terry, which is kind of a random one. He was like a little boy who would go through space and do trippy stuff out in outer space, and sort of a superhero. And all my early comic books were almost like parodies of the superhero format, kind of Captain Underpants style. That was really influential.
Dude, those books flipping through the pages was like so epic.
That was
Dude,
rad, man. All my stuff had the like flip in the punch, is like his arm's here and on the next page it's there.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it would always be, the format was like the superhero is really dumb or something, like Toilet Man or whatever.
So I guess skipping ahead some time, How's the A treating you, man?
It's great, man. Well, I don't know, dude. Like, it was awesome before all this shutdown. I did, it's starting to feel like, why did I move to this city? If I essentially moved here I got kicked out of my house in Athens.
Really?
In May, really suddenly. But our landlord just did some shady stuff and ended our lease 2 months before we, believed that we had agreed to. So day of, I just quit my job, moved into my car for a second, and I was like, I'm just gonna leave Athens. I ended up subleasing from Jack Cherry, shouts out, for very cheap, just because I liked the car thing, but you have to eat out all the time if you don't have a kitchen or a fridge.
Oh, and, yeah, for sure.
I was unemployed, so I had to, figure it out. But Atlanta is great, man. It's, I feel like one thing that I was hoping to do that I'm really glad worked out was I don't feel like I'm totally separated from Athens. We still have 2 band members that live in Athens.
Right.
Or 1.5. Since Comer isn't exactly Athens, it's way out there, man. But
I mean, when you're the sheriff, you got a lot to do. So
yeah, I just feel like we've been able to meet people here and do stuff here without losing the good friends and
that Athens connection
people in the industry around Athens. So
going back to you as a kid, taking these superheroes, doing your own, we'll say, farces of them, and that kind of I feel like you can find that a lot in your music and your art. It's very much like a comment, I think, that's meant to be obvious in some ways, where you're almost making things farcical. So what is happening around you, since you've moved to the city? What are there some dope new things that you found that have come to your attention going around the city that kind of make you want to fire that back out?
How do I put this? So one thing that's always been kind of in our minds as the Wieuca project and what preceded it in high school that later became Wieuca was, because I was playing with Robert throughout that time and going back to 6th grade, we've been playing nonstop since then. And it's kind of people take art very seriously in a way that I've always found funny. It goes to people's heads a little bit. There's always been this scene of it came from my soul. It's pure. Whatever you're listening to or looking at, it can't be criticized. It automatically has value because I felt it at some point. And from a kind of younger age, I thought that was just really laughable because, I've always thought I sucked, in a way of I'm just going through all these tapes right now of stuff I recorded from age 14 up, and all that stuff is like I'm saying before the track starts, I do not have the ability to sing this song, so I'll record it, and maybe one day I'll be able to sing, and I can go back and do this. And I don't know, I guess it's just sometimes go out and see bands or witness people in the scene, and granted, it's not mutually exclusive for someone to take themselves too seriously and be really good in some ways. Some people and so I can't wholesale say that that's more of a problem here than it is anywhere else, or that it applies to the scene in a really broad way, but it is really funny sometimes just check people out. It's also kind of in the fine art world when I was trying to get my stuff in galleries and doing some shows.
Did you ever are there any galleries that you ended up successfully getting into?
Not here. I didn't really attempt that when I got here. I was showing a little bit Linden House in Athens for a second, but Land of the Freak, as it exists now, kind of came out of like needing to make money for the albums we were putting out and make money for press and stuff. I was always making visual art and always saw that as continuous with Wieuca in terms of what's being said and what the point of view is and the way that it's being portrayed.
Yeah, I would say that from an outside perspective, they're basically synonymous. You know, the music and the visuals at this point just have grown together to be like one thing, you know, which works really well. Because the way that sound and visuals match up is really important, and when you can make them work together, I think that just like strengthens
create the vibe,
a brand, or a vibe.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean the ideology, if you want to say that, there's a lot in terms of like, you know, the freak thing is about just like not fitting in and doing your thing, and in a lot of ways I felt like we have always been sort of caught between scenes of like not really what people want in the alternative world and not really what people are used to in the normal world, and we're just like, you know, whether it's attitude or how we present ourselves or whatever, it's just, I feel like we've never totally fit in with anything.
I really want to get on the idea of you have been making all this art for so long. It's like an idea of your band, but the need to like fund your band and make more money with that forces you to kind of put it out to the world in a different way. And like there's always going to be some kind of issue for any artist that's converting what they just do to making money for it. But there's good and bad sides of that. So like, I don't know, could you talk about any ways that like you kind of have been pushed to grow by pushing yourself out in that way?
Yeah, really just trying a billion different things. The largest challenge being scaling up so that I'm able to, you know, like I used to do only like sneakers, for example. It was one of the earliest things. I was doing that going back to like 6th grade, or 5th grade actually, but 6th grade is when I started doing them for other people. And, you know, just like Converse All-Stars or whatever, Sharpie them up. Y'all saw when I started doing more like merch focused, like hoodies and long sleeve t-shirts, stuff like that.
And like backdrops and like things on stage.
Yeah.
And I was just, the point being like things that could be like not just single use, not just you sell it and you're done with it. I like that idea. I like putting a lot of heart and soul into one thing and letting it be its own piece. But for the sake of time and for the sake of resources, scaling was like that issue. And so learned a lot from that, learned a lot from just, you know, gaming, how that industry functions on Instagram and stuff like that. But as far as like how the two are linked, the music and the art, both of them share this like very confused and kind of mixed up way of looking at, might be someone with their head cut off, whatever, but their friend next to them is like looking at their phone, and you know, all these people have like 9 eyeballs and stuff. It's just sort of about trying to enjoy how stuff this world is in some way.
Yeah, I think we can relate as far as clip art goes, as far as not being super serious all the time. You know, that's one thing that sometimes it's like, should we be serious about something on this song? And we usually end up just still having fun with it, you know? Just because I think that, especially if you're like making music to be performed live, you really do want people to have fun. You kind of want to surprise them. Sometimes we'll go to a show, super quiet and serious, very well done music, but, you know, sounds like the record. If I'm going to a show, I kind of want to see something and hear something at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And especially y'all are like the most fun show in Athens. I always love getting up front and with like, the people that know the songs, just heavy headbanging and doing what lyrics we know and stuff. I feel like that's something that y'all and we have in common in terms of like, you really got to get in people's faces sometimes. Not like right in their face, but do what you can to get their ass moving. You know what I'm saying? Get that head banging.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Live entertainment, man.
When we started putting together shows is when I really started feeling that, because it's like, okay, we set up this evening, like, we can't just have everybody in the building chilling,
Like, going back over these early tapes from to do the thing that would the other thing that would eventually become Wieuca, it was very emo, very folk, very sparse. Something we learned from doing shows with like DK and some of the other artists that are incredible at crowd work. Cassie's really good at it, of just like you feel guilty if you're in that room and you're not screaming. They're like, I want to hear it. Juice, like that's something that a lot of indie do, because it's just kind of they do their soul and they're like looking at the ground, and that's fine. But I don't know, it started to be a lot more fun.
For a while, it was really cool to be serious. You had shoegaze and everything, and that was super cool. And like, I think you can still do that and pull it off and be super cool. But I also think there's something to be said for that energy injected into the show. It's harder to do now. It's harder to be super cool playing super chill music now, I think.
It's true, man. And it certainly helped for us to, like, our music has gotten a lot more, like, aggressive and hype over the last 6 or 7 years.
There are certain people that can really pull off the chill thing. I think the perfect example of that is O'Reilly. I think the way that he is playing the most ripping fucking guitar parts and just like, shredding, but like making it look like he's just like looking at his phone or something. He has a way of really pulling that off.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. A lot of people ask me after shows and stuff like that, and they're like, does he hate you guys? Does he hate being on stage or something? Because he's just catatonic sometimes. But what I'll say about him is it's on stage and off stage. One thing people love about that guy is he's purely in his own world. And I could not recreate what Jacko is doing or thinking. I love that guy a lot. I've known him for a long time, worked closely with him, obviously. And I truly have no clue whatever is going on in his mind, ever.
You shout out Jax Johnson.
His dress is just perfect. We all love O'Reilly.
Well, dude, I guess we should start to wrap this up, just so we don't have a super annoying long video conference on our website.
There's no way we're going to be annoying.
No. Will, is there anything else you want to say that you need online?
I thought y'all were gonna maybe say like, all right, Will, we're gonna end this with a cipher, and we just go for another 35 minutes.
We could do a quick one.
Dude, stop.
Okay.
I think that's about the last thing anyone wants to hear from me. But oh yeah, we also got a full album done that we're just sitting on right now until this Corona gets done.
Okay, that's a hot scoop.
Clipartmusic.com. Drop breaking news. Wieuca album. It's recorded. It's done.
They're sitting on it.
They're waiting to go on tour with Clipart.
One day.
I said it on the internet, so now it has to.
All right, Will. Well, I guess it's time for your closing statement.
What do you want to say?
Hit us with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, neighbors and friends, it's been a pleasure educating you and hopefully filling the massive void that you have in your life and in your psyche with these two fine young gentlemen.
All right, dude. Well, thanks for tuning in, talking to us via online interface.
Yeah, man. Y'all be safe. Hope we can kick it IRL soon.